So for those paying attention, last night things really ramped up with with Trump and Iran. In this was in response. Trump promised us there was going to be strikes, and then he followed through. Uh, Last night we started attacking Iran again, and it started as proportional, and now Trump has let us know that this is actually about bringing the full endgame to Iran. So we are in the endgame. This is going to be about ending this. This is now Trump has let us know we are striking them until we get a deal. That's basically where we're at right now. So he's done being messed around with. And here's Jesse Waters giving us a little breakdown on it last night.
Fox News alert: for the second night in a row, the United States is bombing Iran. Not in retaliation for them downing the Apache, but to pump up the pressure on negotiations. CENTCOM hitting all targets along the Strait of Hormuz, islands, and military installations on the coast, including air defense systems, radar, and drone command and control units. Sources say the president's considering an operation that is big in scale but short in duration.
You posted this morning about Iran, and you said that they've taken too long to get to a deal. I want to make sure I quote you correctly. You said that now they will have to pay the price. Yeah. What did you mean by that specifically?
Well, we're going to be attacking them very hard.
Last night's airstrikes were in response to an Iranian drone hitting a U.S. helicopter. The fact that the two pilots survived and were rescued was a miracle.
The president called it a miracle. This drone hits the Apache helicopter, lodges between the two pilots. It's on fire, and there's a massive amount of heat coming out of the drone, but it doesn't explode. And these pilots very quickly.
All right, we heard about this last night. Let's get to the strikes where we're at now, because this is what's important looking forward.
The ceasefire barely holding. CENTCOM forces disabled another blockade runner in the Gulf of Oman. Iran's broke, and they're still trying to slip through the embargo. So a U.S. aircraft fired a precision missile right into her engine room. That's 8 ships blasted back and 134 ships turned around. The blockade is undefeated. Plus, they keep attacking choppers, tankers, and Israel. Trump's still pushing for a peace deal, but the Iranians are testing his patience. Here's where negotiations stand. Remember, in late May, when the president went into the Situation Room to pour over Iran's latest proposal, we were this close to a deal, but Trump sent it back with 2 small amendments. The Iranians had to destroy the uranium in front of the Atomic Energy Committee within 60 days and agreed and never told the Strait. Only then would the president unfreeze some funds. These were last-minute tweaks. The deal was almost done, but the president's been waiting for 2 weeks for a response. 2 weeks.
Yeah, so the word is that the Ayatollah hasn't even seen it yet, the new guy. That's what they were starting to let out, is that they aren't even presenting the deal now from the Trump administration, which is one of the reasons it's stalling. And Trump finding out about this is pissed. He's done. So he goes on to say we were going to strike last night, and now it happened. It's our biggest strike since, now this is 2 nights in a row, remember. It's our biggest strike since the beginning. But we hit them hard, and then last night we get the latest in a phone call with President Trump about what the Iranians are asking for. Listen to this.
Situation Room overseeing these U.S. military strikes against the Iranian regime. He was joined by Vice President J.D. Vance and Special Envoys Kushner and Witkoff. The president telling Fox News at that time 49 Tomahawk missiles had been used against targets in Iran, along with fighter jets that were bombing positions about 40 miles outside of Tehran and also along the southwest coast of Iran that sits along the Persian Gulf. The president said, "We hit them very hard tonight." He described the strikes as vicious and violent. He said the bombing will stop shortly, but if they don't sign an agreement, the president said, quote, "we'll bomb the S out of them tomorrow." And so ultimately, the president is leaving the military option on the table. President Trump describing what it was like inside the Situation Room. He tells Fox News the Iranians called him and asked him to stop bombing. I asked him if he spoke directly with officials in Tehran. He said yes, top officials there. Similar people that he's been dealing with before, trying to get this deal across the finish line. He says this ceasefire has been the most violated ceasefire in the history of the world. And Vice President J.D. Vance told me they are dealing with both moderate and more extreme voices inside of Iran.
So 49 Tomahawk missiles fired last night. And everybody I've looked at and talking about the strike says that what happened is we are taking out their defensive capabilities. That's what we're doing. And it's a precursor to a larger strike. And now Trump's saying that today the strikes are going to get much, much worse. It lines up exactly with what all the reporting is. Now, the technology we're starting to send out there is crazy. In fact, we have this story about these fully autonomous drones killing human soldiers for the first times. And it says, we launch it, know everything will be dead. Everything will be found there in this particular area will be dead. And we just launched those for the first time. So this is all out. This is the American, we use ceasefire to shore up, to get ready for what comes next. And then we've gone full ham on them. Now, in all of this, Trump dropped this other crazy bomb yesterday that tells us, at least in my opinion, that he's been in control this whole time, despite what it's looked like, the back and forth, the deal, no deal, all that's made him look bad. But as always, his entire presidency, both terms, Trump proves again he's willing to look weak for a time in order to pull the rug on you. And yesterday he pulled a major rug on the globalists and on Iran when he announced this crazy. I mean, this is wild. This explains completely why oil prices haven't spiked, despite what Alex Jones and all these people have told us was going to happen. Look at this. Trump truthed this out after also saying it in a Q&A yesterday. It says, last month, I directed our great U.S. military to execute a secret mission to support oil tankers and other commercial ships through Hormuz. Today, I'm pleased to announce this effort has resulted more than 100 million barrels of oil making its way through the strait into the open market. More than 200 commercial ships have safely traveled through the strait. This wildly successful effort is because the United States controls the Strait of Hormuz, not Iran. Their military is defeated, their economy is lost. It's over for Iran. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Do you understand what a big deal this is? That Trump just proved that everything that people were freaking out about, it didn't matter. The strait, we've been in full control of it for even the last month, an entire month. Maybe it's been 5-6 weeks. We've been in full control of the strait. 100 million barrels have passed through. This, along with the new pipelines being built to get stuff out, the ways the other countries have been figuring out how to get the oil out. But Trump, man, no wonder he hasn't been worried. No wonder. Because the one thing that creates political pressure is the oil prices. And Trump just proved that they had this handled the whole time. No wonder oil has gone down over 10% in the last month. I think it's down like 15% now. Oil has been declining. This is amazing that Trump pulled this off. All right. So with all this going on, I mean, we're learning like, so much they said wouldn't happen. Trump's just been in control this whole time. It's pretty incredible. I mean, as Tom Luongo says here, like, look at this chart. Corn prices have fallen now to an 8-month low of $4.17 a bushel. Quite a contrast with the apocalyptic warnings of food crisis, shortage, and famine made by many armchair experts. Incredible stuff. They told us that fertilizer was going to go insane. They told us that the food shortages, there's going to be food shortages. Oil was going to spike to $200. They told us the craziest stuff, and none of it's come true. None of it's come true. And now, with all this going on, everybody freaking out, the last several months, I mean, Tom Longo says great here. I was told there'd be food shortages. Grain prices boring for a while isn't to say reorganizations won't create cost problems later. This is why you have stores for times like this. If shortages in corn come to fruition, it'll be even more reason to get rid of gas price manipulation scheme called RINS, Renewable Ident Number S, which are ethanol blending credit refiners that they have to pay at the pump, make gasoline pure again. I love it. So with all this going on, we find we're just way more in control of the situation than ever let on. Trump threatening to bomb tonight. And now, guys, this is live, just came in. Trump just truthed that we might have a deal. Here's the latest truth from President Trump. Based on the fact discussions with the Islamic Republic of Iran have been brought to the highest level of Iranian leadership and approved, I have, as President of the United States, canceled the scheduled strikes and bombings against Iran this evening. Discussions and final points have been in concept and detail approved by all parties, including U.S., Israel, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Turkey, Pakistan, Bahrain, Kuwait, Jordan, Egypt, and others. Naval blockade will remain in full force in effect until transaction finalized. Time and place of the signing to be announced shortly. Holy smokes. This is huge. I mean, to say that all these nations are involved with this, guys, this doesn't happen in one night. I hate to tell you, for anybody who just thinks like this was just gonna just miraculously occurred because we struck last night. No, man, is it me, or does this look like this was all lined up for a while? I mean, think about how this happened. We've been going back and forth all this whole time. People have been dooming the economy is going to crash, oil price is going to spike, food shortages, other places are freaking out. The mainstream media is telling us Trump has no chance here. Iran can hold out forever. This is going to crush Trump in the midterms. Iran's winning. They got the super duper secret missiles they're holding on to. They can do this. There's nothing wrong in their economy. And now it looks like this might be finally official. Saying that everything's approved is nuts. And it makes me wonder if they already had everything lined up. And then last night, what it did is it took out some of the IRGC defenses, and now they were forced to the table. He cowed them with more coming. So very interesting. If all these countries are signed off on it, which also looks like this could be the expansion coming for the Abraham Accords he wants with a lot of these countries. But if all these countries agree to it, they're going to help keep Iran in check. So we'll all be monitoring Iran to keep them, make sure they hold on to this. So this is wild. This is absolutely wild that they just brought this up. So crazy, man. I got this is happening live. This changed my whole segment, but that's totally okay. But look, just last night they were putting out this is Economist, which is a total deep state rag magazine. They were putting out stuff like this last night. He must swallow his pride and accept a deal worse than the pre-war status quo. Trump just rug pulled these people so hard, man. All the haters. It looks like he's about to do it again. Pretty crazy. Now I had this great post from last night that I wanted to share where this guy put this together. He says, "Is this the end game? Trump launched 49 Tomahawks, dismantled Iranian defenses, seized control of skies, revealed the real signal. Iran called asking him to stop." Read that again. Iran's publicly firing missiles, privately seeking off-ramp. This is what happens when a regime runs out of good options, yet it's much deeper than that. Iran's trap between the CCP, City of London power structure, regional obligations, economic reality, and overwhelming U.S. military pressure. Trump's message was simple. Sign the deal and the bombing stops. Refuse and the pressure continues. Missiles are not the story. Phone call is Iran wants out. When the regime has spent decades projecting strength starts asking for terms, boards already changing. Feels less like escalation, more like the final phase of a long operation approaching closure. That's pretty timely right there, I'd say. Well played. Well played. And this is very interesting. So before this all happened, well, actually, it was yesterday afternoon before the bombing stopped. Department of War, CTO, posted this, monitoring the situation. Well, monitoring the situation, somebody went back through old Q posts, and there was one post that contained that phrase, and it had to do with Iran. Interesting. We stand with the good people of Iran currently battling their installed regime. True rule, people have power, rise up and demand they be removed. Some point military generals will act with the will of the people because their soldiers are those same people and have no choice. We stand with you. We are monitoring the situation closely. Stay safe. God bless. This is from 8 years ago in June. And then yesterday we get this posted by the Department of War. and then they start bombing, and today we get this. That's wild. That's absolutely wild. Well, tell you what, guys, obviously we'll be monitoring this. We'll wait and see what the details are, but it's truly starting to look like this whole Iran thing might be over with, might I add, plenty of time before the midterms, plenty of time for gas prices to go down. I mean, they just put it out, man. This is going to this is the globalists are freaking out right now. City of London is absolutely freaking out because Trump just showed that he had all the cards the whole time, and then proved it last night with these strikes, and with all these countries joining in, man. I'm excited. If they announce the details of this, Iran actually signs off on it, all these countries are a part of it, this is going to be such an incredibly massive win. And as oil prices tank going into the midterms, guys, Trump might have just completely shifted the board again, as he happens to do many, many times. I love it.